As the most rebellious among mortals, how did the six-winged centipede grow step by step and embark on this path? What was its final fate? Han Li took a liking to the six-winged centipede not only because it was one of the ancient spirit insects from the era of desolation, with partial bloodline of an ice attribute true dragon and an exceptionally rare speed of movement among spirit insects promising to become a great asset upon maturation, but more importantly, because the cold air it exhaled could greatly reduce the time required to refine the Chanlin ice flame and even enhance the flame's effects to some degree. Therefore, Han Li agreed to accept Liu Yu as his disciple, and after obtaining several larvae from her, began accelerating their growth using Nizang grass. Eventually, he obtained 24 eggs, returned the matured larvae to Liu Yu, and began incubating the eggs. During this time, he completely refined the Chanlin ice flame, turning its color from blue to purple, and thus renamed it Purple Luotian Flame. While traveling to the far west, the eggs Han Li carried hatched, though he didn't have time to deal with them at the moment. It wasn't until after the demonic valley anomaly was resolved and Han Li returned to the Luyun sect that he began carefully nurturing the larvae in an insect chamber, allowing them to devour each other to advance. After feeding them blood soul pills continuously, the larvae finally grew a pair of wings, and the potency of their cold aura increased significantly. By the time Han Li reached the late nascent soul stage, 24 six-winged centipedes had reduced themselves to 18 through mutual devouring. These 18 centipedes could easily kill core formation cultivators together. 3 bearded disciples at that stage were killed by them. Later, after Han Li returned to Tiannan and entered seclusion for 100 years, the six-winged centipedes evolved again, reducing in number to 12. They all developed a second pair of crimson wings and advanced from level 5 to the peak of level 7 demon beasts, gaining the power to control wind and snow. When the 12 centipedes unleashed their powers together, they could instantly turn an area of several miles into a glacial field. Later, in order to break through to the soul transformation stage with the help of the Magneto-Divine Light, Han Li went to the Chaos Star Sea to obtain an inner core from the Golden Flood Dragon King. Instead, he encountered the noble bird Feng Shi. Han Li defeated the Dragon King, while the six-winged centipedes and the eight-legged ruler worked together to freeze Feng Shi, rendering him immobile. Han Li looked at Feng Shi, once a formidable foe, and casually cut him into pieces. Feng Shi's demon soul tried to escape but flew directly into the mouth of a four-winged centipede and was devoured. Thus, the infamous good guy Feng met his end. Later, Han Li restored his spiritual roots and focused on cultivating the Magneto-Divine Light, eventually reaching the peak of the early soul transformation stage. He planned to use a spatial node found by Xianxia and others to sneak across realms, but encountered the Ice Phoenix, who had previously attacked the small extreme palace, now also at the soul transformation stage. They agreed to help each other, placed mutual restrictions, and attempted to cross together. However, a space storm separated them during transit. When Han Li landed in the Qingluo Desert of the Spirit Realm, the restriction between him and the Ice Phoenix activated. To ease the pain, he was forced to scatter his nascent soul and merge it into his body, turning back into a mortal. But before that, he buried most of his treasures, including storage and spirit beast pouches, over 10 meters underground. As a precaution, he left the pouches open and ordered the devouring gold bugs, six-winged centipedes, and mechanized soul beasts to guard the area. He was later rescued by a group of mortals and taken away. Once his body recovered, Han Li returned to retrieve the buried items and discovered that only one six-winged centipede remained, having devoured its companions and evolved by consuming nearby demon beasts. It had now reached maturity and gained the ability to control the weather. Han Li was stunned. If not for the faint spiritual connection, he would not have recognized it. At this moment, the centipede revealed its rebellious nature, giving Han Li a cold look. Xiaoya, likely a spiritual tool or beast, let out a protective friction sound. Startled, Han Li tightly gripped the immortal extinguishing pearl. Fortunately, the centipede did not attack, treating him like a stranger and flying away. Han Li realized that it had developed rudimentary intelligence and wanted to sever their spiritual bond. But since he had no mana at the time, he was powerless. The centipede later transformed into a white-robed version of Han Li and continued devouring beasts to improve its cultivation until it encountered the Mouse King of the demon race. They struck a deal. The Mouse King would teach it the reverse scale mantra from the Imperial Guard's secret texts, hoping the centipede would one day become a true spirit and help him survive multiple heavenly tribulations. The centipede's cultivation soon surpassed that of Han Li, who had reached the body integration stage and even attempted to attack him several times. It eventually fell in love with the Ice Phoenix, who was following Han Li, and began desperately pursuing her like a lovesick puppy. Unfortunately, she had no feelings for it. Later, when true immortal Ma Liang descended to the lower realm and encountered the now great ascension stage Centipede, he tried to take it as a spirit pet. The Centipede refused, and both it and the Ice Phoenix were hunted by Ma Liang. Han Li intervened to rescue the Ice Phoenix and gave the Centipede a small show of power. By then, Han Li had become one of the top great ascension cultivators in the spirit realm, and the Centipede could no longer rival him. Han Li removed the soul imprint left by Ma Liang on the Centipede and offered to dissolve their master-servant contract. The condition was that the Centipede must gather over a dozen rare materials for him over 1,000 years and assist humanity in 3 future crises. The Centipede agreed, and Han Li fully lifted the blood contract between them. 8,000 years later, Han Li ascended to the immortal realm, and the 6-winged Centipede was finally free in the spirit realm. It seemed like a happy ending, but its chance of ascending had become slim. Had it continued following Han Li, it might have shone brightly even in the immortal realm. But this was its own choice. Perhaps in its view, this was the best ending.